Hello Year 3, it's Mrs Masuku here with your next inquiry lesson. So today we're on to lesson 9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can all follow along together. So just let me hang on and I'll get my screen up for you to see. Okay, so our WALT today is we are learning to use photos to find out about people in the past. And today we're going to be historians again. And remember that historians ask questions to investigate what life was like in the past. So today we're going to be asking questions about some photos, and the pictures that we'll be investigating were taken over 100 years ago in Victorian schools. And what it means by Victorian schools is schools that were open during the time when Queen Victoria was the Queen. So now our Queen is Queen Elizabeth II. But the Queen at the time when these photos were taken was Queen Victoria. So in your home learning pack, you need to turn to lesson 9 where you'll see some photos, but I want you to turn to the page where you see this grid, and we're going to have a look at 6 different photos of what school was like over 100 years ago. And for each picture, we're going to ask these questions. We're going to look for evidence and complete a column of this table. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos that we're going to look at. And you can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions that we're going to ask. So let's have a look at this first photo. This is photo 1, and you can see that there's a little number 1 in the corner of this old photo. I've done this one for you on the board, so you can fill it in on your grid using my answers, and we can do it together. Let's look at the photo then. Does the photo show that children sat on benches behind desks? Let's have a look. Are they sitting on benches behind desks? Yes, they are. So we're going to put a Y in the grid. Does the photo show that children sat in rows? When children sit in rows, it means they sit in lines rather than sitting in groups. And it does look like they're sitting in lines, so they're sitting in rows. So we're going to put a Y for yes in that part of the grid. Does the photo show that the teacher was female? Is the teacher a man or a lady? It's a lady, so the teacher is female, so we put a Y for yes. The photo does show that. Does the photo show that boys sat next to boys? So let's have a look at the picture. Most of the time, it shows that boys are sitting next to girls, not boys next to boys. Most of the time, boys are sitting next to girls, so that's not right. The photo does not show that boys sat next to boys, so I put an N for no. Does the photo show that there were big windows? Well, it's hard to see really, but I can see quite a big window in the corner there. So I'm going to put yeah for yes, Y for yes. Does this photo show that children's work was displayed on the wall? Have a look at the picture. Does it or not? Yes, it does. So Y for yes. Does the photo show that lessons were boring? Well, I can't tell from this photo whether lessons are boring or not, so I'm not sure. So I'm going to put a question mark when I'm not sure. And does the photo show that children were well behaved? Well, it sort of looks like they're well behaved in this picture, but I'm not so sure. So I'm not so sure. So I'm going to put a question mark for that one. Okay, and then that means that I've completed all the questions for photo number 1, and I'm ready to move on to photo number 2. Okay, so this is photo number 2. You've also got it in your home learning pack. It's got a little 2 in the corner. So you can pause the video here and ask the questions about photo 2 and complete the grid. Put a Y for yes, N for no, question mark if you're not sure. Pause the video here. Okay, now we're ready for photo number 3. This is photo 3. pause the video here. Ask the questions about this photo and complete your grid. Okay, we're ready to move on to photo 4. Pause the video again, have a look at it, or you can look at the pictures that you've got in your home learning pack. What can you see from this photo? We're ready now to move on to number 5. If you haven't finished number 4, keep the video paused. This is photo number 5. Pause the video. Okay, now we're ready to move on to photo 6. It's our last one. What evidence can we find out from this photo? Okay, so once you've finished answering the questions, looking for the evidence in photo 6, we're going to see how did you get on. Okay, so you now should have completed all the columns on the grid and found out through investigating the photos what school was like over 100 years ago. So now you're going to be historians. You've asked the questions and now you're going to think about what you know from exploring those photos. What have you found out? And I want you to think about how school is the same and how it is different to school nowadays, and write this on your sheet. So in your work pack, you should find this part, and it says, now you've looked at all 6 photos, you'll have a better idea of what school was like for children 100 years ago, and you can compare this with your experience of school. So you need to write down one thing that is the same between school 100 years ago and school now is. You need to write something in there, and you need to find out one thing that's different between school 100 years ago and school now. And write that in. Okay, when you're done, you can send a photo of your completed work to your teacher. So you can send it, if you're in Mango Tree, send it to me, Mrs. Masuku. If you were in Banana Tree, send it to Mr. Matthews, and make sure you send it along with your maths and English work from today so that we can mark it and give you some feedback. Okay, you just need to take a picture of the page that's got the grid and your comparison sentences on. Don't forget your full stops and capital letters and your neat handwriting just because you're doing work at home. Okay, brilliant work, everyone. And we are going to end the video here. Let me just end it for you. And I'm going to wave goodbye. Hope everyone's doing okay, and I hope you're enjoying our lessons from home. Bye-bye.